Hi, my name is Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer and motivational speaker. It's travel day! Today we're going to talk about tricks to get you to Japan cheaply. Traveling to Japan, China, Korea, we'll forget about Southeast Asia, can be really expensive. They're some of the most unique and interesting places on earth to travel to, but man, you look up those tickets, you go click, 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 and then you go, ah! Yeah, they're like insanely expensive. Anywhere from $1,000 to $1,600, and then sky's the limit, and that's only coach. I mean, if you want to go business class, you're looking at easily $4,000, and then it can tick up to, it was like 8,000 or 9,000 from the west coast of the United States to Japan. We're just going to talk about Japan here. And then if you go first class, I'm not exactly sure why you're watching this video. Because you don't need cheap, you've got money. I watched that show or movie Crazy Rich Asians. Yeah, like I got to hook up for first class with my private room. Yeah, sorry. I travel a lot, and though that would be nice, I think I would do it exactly once, and then my credit card would go and then do the confetti thing and detonate. So that is not the goal here. The goal here is to tell you how to get to Japan and then also China cheaply. So there's a couple methods. First, you got to look at the time of year you're going to travel. If you travel in the summer, you're going to get killed. And that's one of the big things about travel is when you travel in the summer in the northern hemisphere, so from mid-May to like mid-August, late August, it's going to be expensive. How expensive? 2 to 3 times more expensive than if you travel in the off seasons. What? Yeah, crazy. So even though your kids or yourself or whatever, the best time for weather traveling is of course in the summer. That's why it's a high season. So travel has a high season and a low season. It's not that you're on a bridge and then you're on the ground. It's just absurdly expensive and high volume amount of people. Ooh, these lights are bright. Let me turn that down just a bit. Sorry, I don't want to blow myself out here. And then the low season doesn't mean anything, things are bad. It's just that the weather isn't as good, the tourists aren't there, and that's usually in the summer. Some ski resorts do have 2 seasons. They'll have the ski season and maybe the summer season. Jackson Hole, for instance, has 2 seasons. Absolutely. Summer is insane. Winter, not as crazy, but a lot of money goes through that area. So you have the option there. Let's see. Move back and forth here. So high season and low season. Now, do you really want to go in the low season like Japan? Japan is cold. Like think latitude New England. Tokyo is actually way up there. When you look at the globe, Tokyo is actually pretty high. I think it was at Maine. I don't remember. It was up there. And that's the thing about Japan being over in the Asian region with the jet stream blowing off the northern Siberia area and then northern China. It gets really cold in Japan. Like, ooh, where's my jacket and hat? You wouldn't think about that, but because during the summer, Japan actually gets like sweltering. You got heat, you got humidity, there's this perpetual haze, and it's not necessarily from the smog, but it's just this Asian thing. I don't know what it is. It's something about Asia always ends up in haze, in Japan, China, Korea, just the way it seems to be. So you've got those factors of when do you want to travel. If you travel in the high season, expect to spend at least $1,000, if not $1,600 for a flight. Can you luck out? Yeah, I'll tell you about how to luck out in a moment. So if you look at the freezing season, the steamy season, they're both not particularly enjoyable. But the shoulder season, yeah, these things right here, shoulder season is where it's at in Japan. If you go in September, October, just like in Europe, the prices plummet. And then all of a sudden it becomes much more livable. Think $600. $600 to Japan. Now look at it this way. When I fly from Jackson Hole to like anywhere, it's $500 or $600. As long as I'm flying from a major city, Seattle, San Francisco, Oakland, Los Angeles, where else? And thinking West Coast here, not Portland. Portland doesn't have that kind of access, but Seattle does. You can get the price like way cheap. Now, of course, you've got to get to that city, LA, Oakland, San Francisco, Seattle. All right, I can't help you there. But once you get to that city and you jump off, it could totally work. Now, there are ways to do it with discount airlines like Spirit, Allegiant, WOW is Icelandic, who else? Frontier. Now, one of the things you have to be really careful is like, oh, it's cheaper. If those airlines have a problem, they don't reconnect you with another airline. And actually, American Airlines has started to do that, where if you don't have a business class or a first class ticket and something goes wrong, they used to route you onto other carriers. Now they're like, we'll get to you when you get to you. We want to keep you on our airline. Ouch. The super discount airlines do that, so that can become a major problem. So even though you're saying, hey, I need to save some money, consider this. If you save money on that flight and you miss your connector to Tokyo, Narita, how much money did you save? Ching! 0. That's right. So, getting to the major jumping off cities is a consideration. You can also fly to Japan or Tokyo from Chicago. I think LaGuardia has a flight. New York. New York's got a flight everywhere with its 3 airports, but you don't want to go to New York and then have to fly all the way across the planet. It's easiest if you go from the west and then jump over. That way, if there's some particular issue, I don't know what it might be. Yeah, just flying from the East Coast is kind of tough. So if you're flying from the East, you're going to have to, of course, pay more money because it's a lot more miles. There just covers huge amount more miles, however you say that, to get to Japan. Ouch. So that can be an issue too. So getting to Japan's a thing. And also a couple of episodes ago, I talked about Japan and what it's like, and that it is one of the safest countries, if not the safest country in the world to travel to. So tie how you get there and cheaply plus that. Now, you might say, how do you get there cheaply? Okay, so the shoulder season is huge. That is a major factor. But also where you buy the tickets. Now, there are several considerations when you buy these tickets. I've searched online and then done all these searches. Travelocity used to have a price searcher system. They got rid of it because the government said, oh, it's not the exact price. It was kind of silly. The government said, oh, it's not the exact price, so you can't tell people. It's like, look, I saved $600-700 going to Morocco one time because, oh yeah, I was messing around and that searcher had the price. It was $20 off. Who cares? When you're spending $1,000, who cares about $20? But kayak.com. Full disclosure, I'm not sponsored by Kayak. They're not an advertiser yet. But they have a searcher called Explore that allows you to find tickets potentially way cheaper than just doing direct searching. If you have a wider window of travel and time that you can travel on versus this, it's so much easier to find tickets. And the other trick, so this is an interesting thing. Asian travel agencies, whether usually Japanese to go to Japan, China to go to China, Korean to go to Korea, they have a hookup you don't have. Wait, let me get closer. You don't have, you will never have, doesn't happen. So people say, oh, travel agencies, oh, what's the big deal? Huge. I remember one time I flew to Tokyo and I searched and like I spent a week trying to find just the right ticket price. It showed up, and then if you surf away, it never shows up again. By the way, if you find a super cheap ticket and you're looking, don't click away because those things just disappear. It's happened to me tons and tons of times. It's frustrating beyond belief. But you find that ticket, it's great. I got the price down. I think it was $630 from San Diego. I mean, it was dirt cheap. I'm like, yes, fist bump. I am going to Japan for cheap. I go to a little travel agency that I know in San Diego, and it's run by a couple of Japanese gals. And I asked, I was at the store anyway. Okay, what's a ticket to Narita cost 2 days from now? Because that's when I was flying. Oh, $610. Would you like to buy one? What? I spent a week a month in advance. Come on, wasting tons and tons of time, think hours, half days, trying to find this ticket savings. And then I go to the Japanese travel agent 2 days before. Yeah, $20 cheaper than I spent like days searching for this. They had it cheaper 2 days before I flew. How is that possible? Traditionally, you need to buy an international ticket at least 3 days in advance, or 3 days, no. 3 weeks in advance or farther. Sometimes 6 or 7 months if you're going to any country in Africa or longer, then you can get it much cheaper. But man, I could not believe in 2 last days she could get a ticket cheaper than I could just plain get a ticket. What was it, Sankei Travel? I don't, the travel agency isn't at that store anymore. So, but for Asia only, this doesn't work in Europe. It doesn't work in Africa, Australia. Where else do you go? Canada? Does anybody go to Canada? Just kidding. Getting to Japan and China and Korea, just you find the travel agency where that either Japanese, Korean, Chinese, maybe Vietnamese too. I don't know about that one. They have a hookup you don't have. You can go there. They will find things. I don't know what magic super secret code the travel agent entered, but man, even though everybody loves, I don't have my phone, or you're on the computer, tick, 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 tick. Oh yeah, it's a deal. No, you cannot beat them. And if you do, it's a magical moment. So just to recap, you need to be 3 weeks out to Japan. You need to travel on the shoulder seasons. That'll get the ticket price way down. Like if you go during the cherry blossoms, you could get a cheap ticket, but chances are it's going to be ridiculously expensive. So if you want to fly to go see the cherry blossoms in Kyoto or Tokyo or Osaka, or is there any Osaka? I don't know, or wherever, or Hiroshima, you got to put that thing way in advance. The other trick, go to the travel agency based on the Asian country, China, Japan, Korea that you're going to. Chances are they can find something you cannot find. They've got codes and ways to get in there and get you to Japan way cheaper and have a real adventure. I mean, Japan, like I said in my previous episode, super safe, totally cool, challenging to travel in because, I don't know, I don't read katakana or kanji. I took a Japanese class, but didn't stick very well. And as a consequence, there you are. So, you can get to Japan really cheap. You travel in the shoulder season. You look way in advance. Be very flexible with your tickets. You're always going to fly to Narita. Don't try and fly anywhere else in Japan. Get into Narita, then take the train. Otherwise, it tends to cost you a lot more. It may be cheaper to fly, but probably not. Hop the train and go. And then find a travel agent that covers the country and they're from there. Not just generally, but there's some reason that whatever magic code they have, that's how you can get to Japan cheaply. And that's how I did it. Traveled there multiple times, loved it. I hope you enjoyed that little tip to get you into the world beyond experience. My name is Aaron Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer and motivational speaker. Please comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, like the video if you like it, and then please check out my website, www.ncexpd.com. I'm a motivational speaker and I can make a huge difference in your event and in your company. Enjoy the world beyond experience, the world beyond your doorstep, and the world beyond your city limits.